Good evening. My name is James Vandermark. I'm a professor at the University of Rochester's Eastman School of Music and a proud supporter of CAP, Children Awaiting Parents, the Rochester, New York-based national nonprofit. I look forward to spending the next half hour with you to bring greater awareness of children waiting in foster care and to share CAP's work and passion to find them permanent, loving, forever families. In America, there are now 400,000 children in foster care, and approximately 120,000 of them are waiting to be adopted. Each year, a staggering 20,000 of these young people will age out of the foster care system. In 1972, in Rochester, New York, Peggy Sewell and her pediatrician husband, Dr. David Sewell, were young adoptive parents. One of their son's caseworkers approached the couple asking if they would be part of a new adoptive parent group. The Sewells' agreement to participate set in motion the beginning of the Council of Adoptive Parents, the CAP book photo listing, and what ultimately would become the national organization Children Awaiting Parents. As their foster and adoption connections grew and adoption stories trended in the media, Peggy, David, and their Council of Adoptive Parents group learned that there were many waiting children in foster care who were not easily placed into adoption. These waiting children often had medical or special needs, were children of color, sibling groups, or older children and teenagers who had suffered abuse or trauma. All were lingering in the limbo of foster care, not knowing the security and comfort of a forever family. As the Council of Adoptive Parents began to travel out of the area, they attended a pivotal conference in Massachusetts where a photo book was featured with pictures of children waiting for adoption. Peggy knew that if you showed the children's pictures and descriptions, potential parents would come forward to be their forever families. And so, the CAP book, Incorporated, was born in Rochester, New York, becoming the country's first photo listing to be operated by an adoptive parent group. Later in this program, we'll bring you 4 stories of children awaiting parents' families who, in the last few years, have chosen to become those forever families.
We started adopting soon after we were married, and I wasn't getting pregnant, and we said we wanted a family, and we adopted 6 kids. And I have all my gray hair. I can tell which kid gave it to me for which reason. Oh, that was the picnic one. When Dave and I went to adopt our 3rd child, we found out from our worker that there were many, many children who needed homes, but nobody knew about them. They were on a list, and it was a secret list, and the worker was going to find the perfect kid for you. And at that point, they decided that they wanted help because there were 50 kids languishing in care, in foster care in Monroe County. We were all strangers, and we said, well, yeah, we could try to help you. We weren't making any decisions. We weren't checking with the families. We were just trying to bring them lots of prospects. And so that's how we started. We could become a place where people could call and talk to us about what it's like. And that was the formation of CAP, the Council of Adoptive Parents. And then as we went forward, we said, well, we need to tell people about these children. We need to make them public. We need to put them on television. We need to put them in the newspaper. And we would be invited to speak someplace, and then the parents there would take and introduce us to the agency, and then they would give us children to photo list. We were always looking for children. Could we help you find families? We were able then to take our book and make it become more of a regional book and eventually nationally. And so then we changed the name to Children Awaiting Parents. A lot of the agency, part of it, was the advocacy. And it was working with other organizations and people throughout the United States to bring about reform. We were hoping we were changing attitudes and ideas. If you're gay, you can adopt. If you're, single, you can adopt. There is transracial adoption. The education of families adopting. You're not out there on your own. We really need a real influx of financial help to keep growing the dream and to keep finding more homes and to keep finding more parents. There are a lot of kids out there, and we can do our part along with other people and agencies, but we've got to go forward. There's so many kids that need us.
CAP relies in part on donations from people like you who believe that every child deserves a loving, permanent family. Please take the opportunity to show your support for CAP tonight. You can call 585-633-7007 to make your gift now. Our volunteers are on the lines waiting for your call. You can also visit childrenawaitingparents.org and click on the pink Donate button on the left of the page. Or you can mail a check to Children Awaiting Parents to 176 Anderson Avenue, Suite F202, Rochester, New York, 14607. While continuing their advocacy, CAP parents join a coalition with other New York State adoptive parent groups. They take to organizing and lobbying for legislation mandating that all New York State children waiting in foster care be photo listed. CAP's national visibility takes a major step forward in 1980 when the National Enquirer begins to include a CAP book child in every issue. As a result, 300 to 500 inquiries are received weekly, making the CAP book officially a national photo listing platform. With its profile continuing to rise, the organization receives $25,000 from the Ronald McDonald Children's Charities in 1988 to help enhance recruitment in upstate New York. In response to an invitation from President Ronald Reagan, Peggy and other leading adoption advocates head to the White House to present an adoption report to the president, featuring pictures of children from the CAP book. A second White House invitation comes in the 1990s for Peggy and two waiting CAP children to meet privately with First Lady Hillary Clinton. Keeping up with the times, the CAP book and the National Adoption Center began to post available children online. CAP joins the National Heart Gallery movement, partnering with Rochester Institute of Technology to present an extraordinary photographic exhibit of waiting children from New York State. CAP's mission takes a giant leap with the opening of the Donald J. Corbett Adoption Agency. CAP is now able to provide full adoption services in-house, including home studies, training, child search and match, placement supervision, and post-adoption support. Since the opening of the Donald J. Corbett Adoption Agency, CAP has placed 21 children with permanent adoptive families, each on their own adoption journey, each with their own story. CAP's adoption program manager, Veronica Black, knows these stories firsthand and speaks from both personal and professional experience about the needs of long-waiting children and families that adopt them.
I get to be the one to hold your hand. I am the adoption program manager, and one of the things that I do is I support the families. I train them. I go out to the homes to make sure that the children are safe and needs are being met and the families are being supported. When I started there, I learned of the children, the type of children in care, and their needs and reasons for being in care, and it was heartbreaking. And I remember thinking, I gotta make a difference. There's something more that I can do. And I decided to take upon myself to become, an adoptive parent and foster parent. It was an amazing experience. It was challenging at times, but also rewarding. When deciding to adopt and choosing foster care adoptions, one of the things that we require is that families go through training. It gives them a better understanding of the child's needs and where they've come from and what they've gone through. It also helps the family to identify their strengths, what they can and cannot handle. There's also the background check on every adult that lives in the home. We come out and do a home assessment just to make sure the home is safe for children and that the family has a space. There's references required. You know, it may sound like a lot, but it really isn't. Adopting through children awaiting parents, one of the things that we do to support our families is we assign a worker to help them to identify a child. It's okay to be afraid of the unknown. As long as you know that the support is there, you know, you have an agency behind you that's committed, that's dedicated. We do not turn our backs on our families. Once you're a CAP family, you're always a CAP family. So if you ever need anything, we're there. There's so many kids out there, and there's this misconception that the children are in care because of something that they've done. So, you know, I work really hard trying to get people to understand that they're not there because of their wrongdoings. They just want to belong. They just want to be part of a family, you know. They want to be accepted and loved unconditionally. Identifying a family who can love a child unconditionally, you've hit the jackpot.
What's behind the decision to adopt from foster care? For some, it's a lifelong calling. For others, it's a decision to change the life of an older child or to add to their existing family. And for yet others, without biological children of their own, either by choice or circumstance, it is the strong desire to create family. But for all, it is a decision born out of love. Bobby and Heather Henry decided to adopt because they felt strongly that every child deserves the right to be loved by a family.
Bobby and I tried to get pregnant, and we struggled with fertility, and then we decided to try for adoption. And we decided that we could adopt siblings because we knew we had the space in our home and our hearts for more than one child.
Here, if you straighten it out a little bit, it's easier. I was scared to death in the beginning. When we first started the adoption process, we found Shane and Mariana, and there were 2 children. They were obviously not babies. And it was like, this is what we've been looking for all our lives.
Family means like that you're there for each other and you care about each other no matter what.
Shane is 11 now, and he is playing football. He likes karate. He, of course, likes video games. Mariana is 8. She loves to dress up. She's always in a princess dress or high heels. I'm surprised at how immediately I was connected with them. Every day I'm surprised at how much I absolutely adore those 2 kids.
Yeah.
Nice little zucchini for dinner.
Mom is smart, that's for sure, and she's a very good cook.
Okay, you know how to use it, right?
Dad's like sports, and so do I, so like every now and then we'll play catch with a football.
When we moved to our home here, I think that was a moment that they knew that we were in it with them. This was a family move. All 4 of us and the dogs and the turtle all came together. I think that was a moment where they could take a deep breath, relax, set up their brand new bedrooms, knowing that they'd get to sleep there for a really, really long time.
These are kids, and your life is going to change. Now my life goals are to better their lives, to better our house, to better our family, and to help other people that are thinking about this.
So Children Waiting Parents gave us our MAP training, the training that we get before we adopt out of foster care. And we did all the training with them. They did our home study. They were really there to support us throughout the whole process. And the best part about adopting with Children Waiting Parents is the support afterwards. We mentor other families who are adopting through Children Waiting Parents or considering adoption. So there's always ongoing support, and it's like a larger family. We've spoken as a family about potentially adopting again when our kids are older. We might adopt a teenager now that we know that there's so many children out there.
It's very much needed for these children that are in foster care. They're due their winning streak, and you can be that winning streak for them.
It may be scary at first, but think about how the children feel. Think about how they're 3 times as scared as you.
I could probably kill like 2 or 3.
Our whole lives have become about our kids, which is like every parent I know. When you get a "I love you, mommy," or a nice hug before bedtime, it's it's a beautiful thing.
You know, we have a phenomenal family, 2 wonderful kids. I can't even imagine it any other way. This is life.
Sometimes chance, fate, or fortune play a role in bringing a new family together. Jeff and Rob Allen had been a couple for 20 years and witnessed the joy in their friends and relatives' growing families. They decided that adoption was the right thing for them, so they came to Children Awaiting Parents.
Rob and I had been together since 2001. Right around 2018, we started looking into adoption. Leading up to that, I think what we were really looking for is a little more, purpose in life, if you will.
We talked about it off and on throughout the years. And then I just felt like we were at a point where we both knew each other pretty well, that we could support each other through it.
Working with Children Awaiting Parents, they laid out the process for us. It's a significant change in anybody's life. The legal requirements around it are pretty significant. They have to be very diligent about the people who are selected to become parents. You can tell them you're looking for a particular age range, gender, how many kids you may be looking for. Are you considering a sibling group? All those things are taken into consideration.
To buy a house higher up.
The biggest step, I think, for us was getting to that point where you're ready to be matched up with a child.
Concern, very good.
So we learned about Charlie, and we found out he was 10 years old and was looking for a forever family. He was very much like any other 10-year-old boy as far as his likes and his aspirations and dreams and so forth. It's really no different.
How would you like to make a bag of popcorn?
With many kids looking to be adopted out of foster care, their needs can be very different, very significant in some cases. So you find yourself spending a lot of energy, putting a lot of thought into what you can do for your child.
I've learned how to be more patient. It's not easy, but definitely learned how to be more patient.
It is helpful to know that Children Awaiting Parents is there for us. I think it's also important to kind of complete that feedback loop and share your experience. Throughout that whole journey with them, it felt like a real partnership.
Good thing you have a couple of cool dads that got you a costume.
My advice to people who are thinking about adoption is there's nothing stopping you from picking up the phone and reaching out to Children Awaiting Parents. It's a huge decision in life, so it needs to be a very informed decision, and they are certainly very prepared to kind of guide you through that process of even deciding whether or not it's something you want to pursue.
Tell me about your home.
I love it.
What do you love about it?
My dad's and my dog. Yeah, I love it here. I'm never gonna move.
My hopes for Charlie is that he will grow up and be a well-balanced adult as much as he can, have a good life, and always be in contact with us, because he's our family now.
Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video.
After graduation, high school sweethearts Kevin and Rachel Dukes went their separate ways, but were led back to each other more than 20 years later. They knew they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together, and they knew they wanted to be parents.
Kevin and I met in high school. 20 years later, we reconnected on social media, and we realized that it was always meant to be. One of the things that Kevin and I were sure about when we got married was that we wanted to start a family, and we were both already in our 30s. And so we started trying for a family right away. And 3 years into our marriage, there was still no child. There was no baby.
Many nights of crying, many nights of praying, many nights of, not really sleeping right, because we knew there was something that we were missing.
We walked past a sign that said Children Awaiting Parents. And that just kind of struck a chord with us because we were parents waiting for children.
We were like, okay, let's jump on this. Let's do it. Not only did I receive peace, but I received joy, and to me, that peace and joy, it lifted all the frustration, all of the anger, all of the confusion, all of the I would dare say shame of not being able, in my mind, to conceive a child.
I would do it all over again, even the hard moments, even the moments where we thought it was never going to happen. I would do it all over again if it meant that we get to have Miles. He's our son, and he was meant to be our son. And I can honestly say that I love him the same as if he would have come from me.
My son is tenacious. My son is loving, forgiving. He's smart. He's incredible. There's too many children in the world that need parents. If it's in them to have that want to do it, then there's something there. Search for it. Seek it out. Just do it.
Because of so much joy that Miles has really brought to our lives, it's caused us to be more than willing and open to consider adoption once again. Our goal is to be parents. Our goal is to raise a child in this world, teach them values and morals and how to be good contributors to our community and to the world. That was our goal. And the journey to that was adoption.
When Aaron and Andres Cabral talked about adding to their family of 2, the idea of having a baby didn't really appeal to them. They were interested in adopting an older child who would fit more easily into their active lifestyle.
Andre and I met about 10 years ago. We met in a coffee shop in the South Wedge, and within a few years we were married.
After, a couple of years of conversation about, what our family would look like, we settled on adoption. We really weren't into the idea of having babies, just didn't really work with our lifestyles.
We knew that we had a lot to offer a child. You know in your heart, though, what you can have and support in your family and the type of child that would meet your family, would be a good fit.
Started looking, found Ray. He had all of the qualities that we were looking for. He, the right age, had a good disposition. It was love at first sight.
After a few years, Ray was thriving, and we decided to start the process again. We knew we never wanted just one child, so then came Devante, and we're in the process of adopting him right now. Ray is one of the most compassionate people I've ever met. He has a heart of gold and a personality to match. Devante, we've only really known for a few months, and every day we learn something more about him, but he is incredibly passionate.
Isn't his name?
No. With adopting an older child, you are jumping feet first into the deep end. And I would recommend just knowing your village and tapping every resource possible, because you will need the resources. We participated in family therapy, which I think was key to supporting our transition.
You can't rush a connection, you can't rush that attachment. Those small moments is what builds that relationship between you and your children, and it cannot be rushed.
You have, again, a child who is fully formed and functional, and they have a history that they're bringing with them that is given to you, and in many ways it's a gift, and that sometimes you don't know that it's a gift at the time.
You should have 7 cars.
When I was younger, I was just out of control, but I feel like ever since I was in foster care, it was hard, because I was separated from my little brother. Me and my little brother were close, but I guess he was kind of happy that I got out. I'm happy that I have a good family that loves me, and appreciate what I do, who I am.
My hopes and dreams for my children are that they are good adults, that they're able to take care of themselves, that they can not just survive but thrive, and be able to turn their, the early part of their life that led them into this system, turn that completely around and just, flourish.
In the fall of 2018, Laurie Mcknight came on board as CAP's newest executive director. With her passion for waiting kids, especially those aging out of care, Project SAFE became a reality with participation from area counties. New families were created, community CAP chats were launched, third-party fundraisers and community events hosted, and the adoption program expanded.
At Children Awaiting Parents, we have so much happening with fostering and adoption, and we are still not as well known as we could be. So we really want to create awareness, not just awareness about what we do, but awareness about all of those children who are out there waiting for a forever home. That's the whole goal of everything we do, that kids come out of the system with supports and a promising future. We're just beginning to develop a program called Project SAFE, which is for those kids who never end up adopted or returning home and don't have life skills or support systems. And we're working with some great partners in this community to start this program and make sure that kids from the time they come into care and either go home or get adopted or end up leaving the system have supports from Children Awaiting Parents. So we see ourselves as really leading the way as a family service, a full family service organization, and being successful at all that transitioning for kids finding permanency. This organization employs some very passionate people. There are 4 of us who are adopted parents, and two of them are foster parents, and 1 has helped to raise other children. So out of our 6, 5 of us have been in this in some capacity on a personal level. We count on donations, and the reason is we're small. I would like to say we're small but mighty, but you know, there's only so much that really can be covered when you have the amount of work and the number of children in need across the state and the country. So fundraising is very challenging, but it's necessary for us. Children Awaiting Parents makes a difference in the lives of children. It's really the deep-rooted passion, knowing that you're doing something good.
As the holidays approach, I hope you consider supporting the work of Children Awaiting Parents. Please call the number on the screen to speak live with a CAP representative who will be happy to take your donation information. Or visit childrenawaitingparents.org. CAP's success is dependent on the involvement of numerous individuals and organizations, many of whom work behind the scenes. In grateful recognition of the work on its recent gala, CAP would like to thank its staff, board of directors, attendees, plus these 2021 gala sponsors for their generous support. On behalf of Children Awaiting Parents, thank you so much for being part of this special broadcast, and have a good evening.